going on? I'm making this relevant. Hear me out. In prior videos I've so-called mispronounced the grocery store called Whole Foods. And I've intentionally mispronounced it because that's the way I say it. I say Whole Foods. You understand? Because I'm talking to my people. You know, a lot of people may say, well, man, you could make it. You could be bigger than what you are if you just stop using slang and broken English. And I'm like, well, what you mean, the Anglo-Saxon language? Like as if the Anglo-Saxon language is not broken English? Or rather, broken languages? Like as if the Anglo-Saxon language is not the most difficult language to learn. Because when you're saying whole food, why are you leaving out the W? I mean, why is the W silent? And phonetically, I can hear you're saying whole, like H-O-L-E, like a hole in the ground. Like I never understood the Anglo-Saxon language. You know, like two words that have two different definitions or meanings, spelled differently, but phonetically sounds the same, like win, W-I-N, and win, W-H-E-N. This is the reason why a lot of foreigners that come over here, they find it very difficult to learn the English language because it's so complicated. Like the word pterodactyl. And you're saying you have to silence the P. See, you all bug me out in the comment section of these videos, like correcting me on my, Anglo-Saxon language. The pronunciation of it. As if this doesn't exist. The etymology dictionary, the origin of words. And when you look up certain words, half of the words that we're using and pronouncing, we're misusing it, and we're mispronouncing the words that we use on a daily basis. And a lot of people that are religious may find it very confusing when they really, I'm going to give you an example, when they find out that the days of the week are the worship of Greek gods, the sun, the moon, and different planets. You want me to show you? Bear with me. I'm making all of this relevant. Hear me out. Monday, Moon's Day. Tuesday, Twig's Day. Dag, the worship of the sky god. Wooden's Day, the day of Mercury. Thor's Day, Thursday, the worship of the thunder god, Thor. Friday, Frigga's Day, the worship of the god, a goddess of love. Saturday, Saturn Day, the worship of Saturn. And last but not least, Sunday, the worship of the sun. So, please, don't you ever challenge me. See, I may not have a whole bunch of materialistic things and money, but one thing I have, and I hold sacred, is my brain, my mind, my intelligence. Straight up. So, just watch your mouth when you're trying to correct. If you don't have one of these, I suggest you get one when you're trying to correct me on the Anglo-Saxon language, which is one of the worst languages that you could ever learn. Very difficult. I could go on for days with that, but I'm not. Let me get to the point. I don't supposed to know the things that I know. I don't. See, I come from the hood. Pretty Ricky and I come from the hood. Our family comes from the hood. And based on where we used to live, we wasn't supposed to make it out. Straight up. But we made it out. We made it out of the trenches. And I could start from the very beginning, born in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? My mother and my father met each other in Tompkins Projects. And they had me. And I'll never forget it. We stayed in front of a junkyard. My best friend at the time was a white kid. And we played with dirt. Parts from the junkyard. I remember summers we would swim in this pool and it was just dirty and disgusting. Mice, roaches all in our house. And then fast forward, my grandmother, told us we can come down south. My stepfather at the time was getting high and he got fired from MTA. And my moms couldn't take it anymore, so we moved down south. My mother, my sister, and I moved into my grandmother's house. My grandmother wound up getting remarried. And of course, she stayed in a little middle-class black neighborhood. We couldn't afford to live in that area. So what we had to do? We had to move on to the bad side of town in Durham, North Carolina, called the West End. In the West End, let me tell you something. I've seen a lot of stuff in New York as a kid, as a young adult and as an adult. But that period of time that I lived on the West End was some of the most horrendous things that I ever saw in my life as a kid / teenager, because that was middle school. I went there from 6th to the 8th grade. And I never forget, what I'm saying? I get on the school bus and I'm sitting down and, I'm just trying to go to school. I'm looking on the right-hand side. It's a dude that's 17 years old, eating a girl out of that's like 15 years old. You go further in the back of the bus, dude is smoking weed. You understand? Remember when I was in class, I'm not lying. That school, that middle school, I don't know if it's changed or not, called Rogers High, was just like that school with Joe Clark, Lean on Me. But see, the thing of it is, our middle school, while I was going there, they never fixed it up. I've seen some of everything happen in that school. Dudes having sex with girls and just some of everything. This dude, may he rest in peace, got shot in the head later on when he went to the same HBCU I was going to. But at that time, he was going to the same middle school I was going to. They beat that man, that boy, I'm saying, I'm in middle school. I'm my rightful age. I'm saying, these guys are getting left back and left back and left back. Everyone that went to Rogers High was from the projects or from the hood. So it was guys that was going to my middle school that was 17, 18 years old. Damn near adults. So Marvin was one of them. And I never forget. Dudes came across the street. Had to be like a mob of 20 of them. They beat the living shit out of Marvin. Baseball bats, chains, and everything. I went home with blood on my shirt. And then when it was time to graduate, and go to high school, it's crazy. So my mom's finally got up some money. She remarried, and we moved to this area. So it's kind of difficult to explain because it's been so long that I've lived in Durham. So we moved down Fairfield Street, and it was this community called Fisher Heights. And then in between Fisher Heights and this old neighborhood where it was just nothing but old people, there was a street called Cook Road. The family that used to run, and you know what I mean by run shit, would call it Yates, right? So in an old neighborhood, it was nothing but old people, right? My mom's wound up moving in there because my grandmother's husband owned a house there and he rented it out to us. Now, there used to be 2 buses that went down Cook Road. One, Hillside bus, which was an all-black school, and 2 was the Jordan High School bus. And I think with the Jordan High School bus, and it was an all-white school, so Hillside was all-black school. I think with the Jordan High School bus, I don't think it was trying to come down Cook Road. It was like a shortcut to get to Woodcroft, which was an all-white neighborhood. Not all-white neighborhood, but it was predominantly white neighborhood, right? So I had the opportunity to either catch the Hillside bus or the Jordan High School bus. And I chose Jordan High School. At the time, I don't know if it's changed or whatever, but Jordan High School at the time was one of the top schools in the state of North Carolina. And while I went there, I learned so much. I read so many books and plays. I read plays like Julius Caesar, Macbeth. I don't think Beowulf. Beowulf was a story. You know what I'm saying? Iliad. I read books like To Kill a Mockingbird, The Crucible, The Scarlet Letter, Frankenstein, written by Mary Shelley. We read so many books, and I got on punishment so many times, you know what I'm saying? Because I had to watch my sister every time I got out of school. So I stayed on punishment all the time, and the only thing that I could do was read, and that's what I did. Was read books, read books, read books, read books. I'm making this relevant. Hear me out. So, I could be in a room full of white people, and once white people start talking and saying this and saying that, like one of the famous quotes out of Julius Caesar, and I always say this all the time, et tu, Brute, meaning that you're going to stab me in the back too. I know exactly what they're talking about. Exactly what they're talking about. Because I read the books that they read. I read the plays that they read. And see, the difference between me and them is that I read them, and not only did I read them, I retained the knowledge. I understood them because there was a deeper meaning behind the plays and the books. And I was determined not to live in the hood. I was determined not to go to a black high school, and I'm sorry for saying this. But Hillside was the worst of the worst. I was determined to get out of the hood, and I got out of it. True indeed, yeah, I went all the way to the 12th grade and decided that I didn't want to go no more, and I dropped out. The reason why is because, I'm not gonna lie, man, I was lazy. A lot of the teachers knew that I was highly intelligent and that I was just bored. I was bored. I wasn't learning anything about me. When they taught me about me, it was that we were slaves, and that was it. That's it. I didn't learn my history. I learned about American history. So yeah, I dropped out in the 12th grade, and they told me I wasn't going to walk on time and I had to go to summer school. Later for that, I'll just drop out. And that's what I did. And of course, the story didn't end there. But throughout my trials and tribulations, guess what? I was self-motivated. I was determined that I was going to be the best me. And yeah, people may say, well, you joined the cult. But in that cult, there was good and bad. See, people may say, hey, you were brainwashed. Well, not really. Being brainwashed to me, when you're washing something, you're trying to clean it. So the reality of it is that you want to say that I was brain dirty. Yeah, I was brain dirty and I was brainwashed at the same time. Brain dirty because I truly believe that this leader, this black cult leader that said that he was from another planet, I believed it. But at the same time, while I was believing that, I was reading. And we read about all types of cultures and religions. This is the reason why I could walk in any room and converse with any and every one. Because I know a little bit about a lot of things. I was reading about the ancient Sumerians. We were studying dark matter, quantum physics. Yeah, true indeed, I was getting high and drinking and all of that stuff. But at that point in time, I was like really, really creative. I'm naturally an artist. So I was drawing while I was living in the hood, the slums. Andrew Avenue, Durham, North Carolina. Roaches, rats crawling through the walls. Staying in a boarding house. And the only people that weren't crackheads in that boarding house was me, the chick that I was dealing with, and 2 of the drug dealers. But everybody else was on drugs. It was so dirty in there, I had to take a shower with flip-flops on. So dirty in there, we had to share the bathroom in the kitchen. So dirty in there, I had to buy my own hot plate. But I made it out. Never forget this book that I read the greatest salesmen in the world. And there was a quote, and the quote said this: failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. I don't give a damn if you're black, white, green, purple, orange. Stop repping the hood. You can get out of the hood. This is the age of the Aquarius, where there's a spiritual awakening. And knowledge has always been power. The knowledge is at the end of your fingertips. And nowadays it's a fair ground, fair playing ground. Even if you're dumb, as long as you have a smartphone, you're all right. Nowadays, you can type in the wrong word and it'll spell it out for you. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters out there, stop repping the hood, stop living in the hood, and stop believing in people. Stop believing in what people have to say about you, and start believing in yourself. For those that are religious, I could. You want me to quote some Bible scriptures for you? In Psalms 82 verse 6 and John chapter 10 verse 34, it states that I have said that ye are gods and children of the Most High. What did I get out of those two scriptures? Is that the God is not up there, it's within you. It's within you. I see a lot of young men and women out there repping the hood and don't even realize what they're repping. A project. And the project it was a success. They have turned productive black men and women into genetically modified niggas. The question is, are you going to be one? As well as white people too. As well as Hispanics, Latinos, whoever lived in the slums, whoever lived in the hood in the slums. This ain't no race thing. Some of everybody live in the hood. Some of everybody live in the projects. But I'm here to tell you, Pretty Ricky and I, we made it out. And it's a beautiful day for me to reflect back and know that everything that I went through, man. You know, I don't want to put these two books out. I hardly even mention them because, you know, at that time that I have wrote and published the books, I was part of the cult. You know what I'm saying? And I referenced, you know, the doctrine and the cult leader in these two books that I wrote. At the time, my author's name was Hesed Ramus Mket. But I achieved that. These two books I wrote. Self-published. This is my firstborn. And then after that, my second. I accomplished this. From the hood. I remember, and I know I'm skipping from story to story, but I don't have but much time. I'm trying to squeeze everything in. I remember when Pretty Ricky lived with me. See, y'all don't know like the whole bootlegs CD game, man. Like I would tell you stories about it. But I don't think y'all are interested in it. But at the same time, it wasn't a hustle. It was a business. I had burners all in my house, copy machines going on. When Pretty Ricky walked in and saw that, he just shook his head like, yo, this is crazy. I was retailing, selling CDs, and wholesaling CDs. I had my own distribution center going on. I remember there were times where MCs was like, yo, man, I need to get my joint dubbed up. Yo, could you burn my, copies for me and all of that? Yo, I had a business going on. I had a table set up. I had Man, I was having raffles, giving away free CDs, Customer Appreciation Day. I did this all by myself. Right now, man, you know, people may say, well, man, you know, I know somebody that got more views, total views, than you have on your old channel and your new channel. I'm not thinking about that. I'm not in competition with everybody else. I'm focused on me. The only person I'm in competition with is that man in the mirror. The only person that I could disappoint is that man in the mirror. The only person that can be proud of me is that man in the mirror. So just a couple months ago, I passed 1 million views on my old channel. And now I'm like at 1,020,something thousand views total and counting. Total views on my old channel. And on this new channel, total views, I'm over 800,000, headed to 1 million. I can never, yo, people think this YouTube, you know, shit is not serious. Like, that is no cheating. None of that. That's real views. That's over 1 million that have looked at my old channel and which it was interested. I don't care whether you looked at one video for 2 seconds. You was interested in me just for 2 seconds. And if you combine the views, total views with the old channel and this new channel, that's close to 2 million views. 2 million people were and still are interested in me. That's an accomplishment within itself. So take my stories, take my rise and my falls in life, and let that be your inspiration. Let that be your motivation to get the hell out of the hood. Because you're more than that. You're better than that. And this goes for all races. Be the best you that you can be. And don't focus on everybody else. I learned that. It took me years to learn that. But now I got it. And now, I'm on to big and better things. Straight up. So I hope that this video touched someone. Other than that, my name is Langston2092. I want you to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely share this video. Peace.